All right. Hey there, YouTube. How's it going? Bruised here for what will be the last time for this 3.23 Affliction League here in Path of Exile. Yeah, this is my last character for the league that I'm just going to be making a video on. I've made a lot of characters that I didn't make a video on. I ultimately either had build ADHD or just wasn't super satisfied with how the character was turning out, and so I just switched in general. Or I just wound up getting all caught up on wanting to complete challenges, so I went back to characters that were already well established and did stuff. But I did like 15 characters this league. Like, it was an insane league for characters. It was a ton of fun. And this character actually is a bit of a different story as well, in the sense of this is probably what I'm also going to be league starting as in 3.24, whatever that league ends up being. I'll add a couple caveats to that later. But this is a elemental hit Hierophant, but we are only doing the fire hit. So we are using combat focus. Here's the combat focus over here, which makes prismatic skills can't choose cold. And we have the other one over here that makes them not be able to choose lightning. So we're only doing we're only doing fire damage. And the other thing as well that I really decided to do with this character in this build is leadership's price. Kind of before I go too much further into the character and kind of like what it's about, I wanted to just do a quick recap as far as like what the plan is for next league. This will more than likely be my league starter. I will probably have in the POB, which will be down below, I will probably have a league starter variation of this, and then an endgame variation, which will be closer to what this character is right now. A little bit different, a little bit the same, because I also don't want to take too much time setting up gear that I think might not be attainable, or that you just have to kind of like really think about. This character will 100% translate to a next league. There is nothing that it really gains or loses from Affliction. The only thing that I'm using right now is a couple charms. This one just grants some increased strength in it and some increased effect of non-damaging ailments, which isn't a big deal. And this one just penetrates elemental resistances. Again, it's more damage, it's more support. It's not a big deal. The only caveats I have to if I league start this character will be if I want to if there's some other some other transfigured gem that comes out that just looks way more exciting, then I'll probably just do a build with that, because that'll just be a good time. So we'll see what gems come out. The only other thing that will kind of determine it will be if the league looks like it's awful for totems, if they change totems up in some huge way, if they change Hierophant up in a huge way. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I feel like that's kind of it. Or I guess if they really severely nerf Ellie hit, but I don't think they will. They actually buffed it this league, and it's been a super solid build, and this character has been overall pretty fun, pretty cozy, and I'm looking forward to really trying to min-max this character next league. So really quick, we'll just gotta say as well, because I always forget to go over this, so I want to talk about it. Let's go over Ascendancy. We're going Hierophant, obviously, for the totem stuff. We get more duration, we get more placement speed, we get max totems, and we get more damage and some regen of life and mana for each totem that we have out. So Hierophant is very good. Also, it puts us relatively close to bow stuff. We do have to do quite a lot of traveling to go get some of the bow nodes, but it's not that bad. But yeah, so Ascendancy wise, first up, go Pursuit of Faith. Second, Ritual of Awakening. Third, take Eviction of Power. And then last, you can choose if you want to do Divine Guidance. I personally don't like it, just because of the fact that we already have, as you can see, a lot of reserved mana, and we don't have, a lot of unreserved mana. So that means when we're taking damage, especially if we're taking any kind of dot, our mana just continues to just drop down and down and down, and we can't, and it's hard to sustain. It becomes a lot harder to sustain mana. So just taking the two small nodes here, which are just generic mana regen and increased mana. Not exciting nodes for your fourth one, I know, for your fourth Ascendancy, I know, but it is what it is. Just take these two small nodes, in my opinion. So now, let's go to the meat and bones of the character. I'll kind of talk about some more improvements, where this character can go. I have a Maven. I guess I'll do it. I have done a couple bosses on this character, but I mean, I'm only level 91, and there's still a lot to this character that has to be sort of figured out and dished out, especially this bow. Like, this bow is incredibly mediocre, especially because we're taking Avatar of Fire, so that means we're dealing no non-fire damage, but at the very least, we are converting the damage that's on this bow that I have But ideally, you would get a much better bow. If we're talking super min-max bow right here, I am talking like we want fractured bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows, and then we're getting big attack speed and probably crit, whether that be crit multi or crit strike chance generically as your suffixes. Prefix-wise, you just want probably a lot of fire damage, some LE damage with attacks, and elemental penetration, which the only way I can think of to get elemental penetration on a bow that's fractured is with veiled chaos orbs. So you'd have to lock suffixes, do a veiled chaos orb, and hope that it either A, doesn't fill your prefixes, or B, that it gives you good prefixes, and it also gives you damage penetrates with this weapon. That's sort of the best way I can think of to min-max this bow. That's probably what I'll be trying to do next league. Very expensive, but I kind of want to try it. I've never truly really min-maxed a character out, so that's probably the plan. Regardless, so this bow is pretty much just whatever. It has a lot of added damage on it. It has attack speed. It has crit stuff on it. Good enough. And then I just have we have our auras socketed in here, so we're doing a 6-link Enlighten setup. So we have Skitterbot's Determination, Enlighten, Haste, Precision, and Defiance Banner. I am not actually using regular Haste. I don't have enough mana reservation efficiency for that. So it is just Precision, Skitterbot's Determination, Defiance Banner, and using Vol Haste when that pops up. And then we are helmet-wise using Wilma's Requital. It's actually a very solid helmet for this build. It gives us accuracy, it gives us LE damage with attacks, it gives us increased reductions to cast speed. It doesn't matter that much, but Ancestral Bond as well is also very good. It lets us move down with our tree, so we can actually sooner move our way over towards the bow side of the tree, rather than having to go up first, take Ancestral Bond, and then go all the way down and around. So it's a good helmet, good item for this build, saves us some points. In it, we just have Mana Forged Arrows with Ensnaring Arrow and Frenzy. Very good. We want Frenzy charges. Ensnaring Arrow is good for anything projectile related. What you could do here with the 4th socket, what I'd probably do is either put in Greater Multiple Projectiles or Inspiration, depending on how much mana issues you're having. If you're having mana issues, do Inspiration. The multiple projectiles doesn't matter that much. It'll just help you get the stacks up a little bit quicker, but it's not that big of a deal, honestly. Amulet-wise, and this is sort of a big piece of contention right here, but I personally think that Leadership's Price is the way to go. Leadership's Price is very annoying to build around. I will not deny that whatsoever. That's actually why a lot of my stats and everything right now, why this is locked in here, why this this node right here is also locked in. It's because it's annoying to build around. But for the sake of just this league, I really wanted to try out with Leadership's Price, see how it feels, see how it works. And then next league, I won't be using this Lethal Pride. I wouldn't take this Dexterity node here to really make sure my stats are maxed. Yeah, and that would just be, and then I would sort out my stats as necessary from there. So that is just a quick heads up, and on the POB, it'll probably reflect that as well. But Leadership's Price, it's extremely good. If we have our 2 highest attributes equal, then we get Confluxes. Confluxes cause all of our damage to Scorch, Sap, and Afflict Brittle, but we can't freeze, shock, or ignite, which is where Skitterbots comes in. Skitterbots can then shock and chill things for us, and then we miss out on ignite, but that's okay. Ideally as well, we probably have this, if we're really min-maxing, we're anointing this with Whispers of Doom. We're getting a flammability, and we're putting that probably in the boots. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest deal there. Leadership's Price, though, I think is extremely good. That lets us inflict 5 different non-damaging ailments onto opponents, which is great for elemental hit, because we deal more damage per elemental ailment on the enemy. So if we got 5, then that's fantastic, obviously. If we only get 3, like if we were to just use, if we were to not use Leadership's Price, then we only get 3, which, you know, it's still good, but at the end of the day, 5's more, so why not just use that? Also, again, these 3 ailments are still incredibly strong and very, very worth getting. So I think if you can afford to build around Leadership's Price, certainly do it for this build. Just try to get a good Leadership's Price, or at least a decent one. Maybe try to min-max one later, but yeah, Leadership's Price should be a very good way to build this. Quiver-wise, I needed more accuracy. That is one thing that you have to remember with any kind of bow build related to Templar, is that you will need a lot of accuracy, realistically. We don't have a ton, so you really need accuracy. Therefore, Fractured Accuracy. Getting a penetrating just so that our arrows can go through. It helps us a little bit with clear. But I will say, I think it's probably for the best, maybe not going penetrating arrow. The AoE damage that you do with just the fire explosion, and I'll run a quick map too. Why not, right? But the area of effect explosion that you get with the fire damage will probably be good enough. Also, there's Goatman on here. I'm scared. Will probably be good enough, and I'll do a quick demo for that in a second. We're using Dial's Malefaction. This league, it's very cheap. I don't know if that will continue to be the case, but this league is extremely cheap. So I have 5 reds here and 1 green. The green is where Elemental Hit's going to sit in, because now we deal, as you can see, 22% more damage per elemental element on the enemy. It's the very bottom row there. And it's actually, I did POB check this, it's worth more to use use a green socket on your Elemental Hit than it is to use a red socket for the plus levels. And then otherwise in here we've got Awaken Fire Pen, Awaken LE damage with attacks, Awaken crit or not Awaken, sorry, it's increased crit damage just for the crit multi. Ballista Totem support, obviously, we need that. And power support, this should ideally be a level 4, I'm just leveling this one, is what it is, but this is a level 4. Or will be a level 4. For this setup. And then ring-wise, just things with attributes, things with resistances, nothing crazy here, a little bit of added damage, resistances, all that good stuff. Gloves, we have some fire exposure, some crit chance, and some more just life and resistances. Otherwise, nothing crazy there. We got Sniper's Mark with Molten Shell, and then we have Molten Shell, Life Tap, casting damage taken. What I'll probably do here is move the Sniper's Mark out of here, put an increased duration here, just have a full 4 set here. And then boot-wise, I can move like the Flame Dash. I could either just keep the Flame Dash here, and then probably just do Sniper's Mark, have like Flammability and something else here in the boot, just to make things a little bit easier. Boot-wise, though, as you can see, nothing crazy. Cooldown recovery of travel skills, some action speed, and then just resistances and life and move speed. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. Belt-wise, I'm rocking it just a Stygian. Good old Stygian. More life, more resistances. It does have an influence on it. This is for a different version of the build that I was testing. You don't need to run with the influence. The influence actually doesn't do anything, but it was for a different test that I was running. So don't worry about the influence on it. It's just a Stygian. It has resistances. It has life. Good enough. And then the Searching Eye Jewel that I have in here just has a lot of added damage. Flask-wise, of course, Divine Dying Sun just makes things nice for clear. If you had the bow that has 2 additional arrows fired, then it would be obviously even better, and you could use Dying Sun. And actually what you would do, if you had that many arrows that you're firing, you would actually swap probably your Awakened Fire Pen actually for barrage support. Because then that will obviously, then all of your, it does work with ballistas, so you're firing a lot in a line and all in a row. And if you have that many additional projectiles with Dying Sun, that's going to be a ton of damage that you're adding. We have Quicksilver, of course, a diamond, just to really help cap our crit. You could probably replace this with a phasing, though. With how high the brittle effect is that we get to put, we actually, a lot of the time, are already capped on crit as is, so we don't really need it. And then just of course, a Granite Flask for armor, because we love armor. And I'll show the tree in just a second here, but I just kind of wanted to do a quick demo of the build as I'm just running around. I'll just do a regular old map, as I'm gonna probably die in here. But like I said, I still have a lot to figure out with the character and like a lot to do. Mostly levels, honestly. Mostly levels would make a huge deal. But I can have up to 7 totems right now. It's been very cruisy and very like pretty solid damage wise. Have I played builds with higher damage? Absolutely, but this is like my test as far as like league starting goes, and I think it's been very viable for that. Oh no, who are we getting? Oh, I almost died because I wasn't paying attention to bleed. Gotta love it. Yeah, you can see like damage-wise, that's not half bad. Like that's pretty solid, and you're a totem build, so you're pretty safe, honestly. Yeah. But overall, this build has been quite good, and I think it'll continue to do well. I mean, GGG does unpredictable things, so who knows? Maybe maybe it's just the perfect storm next league where all of a sudden it just looks like elemental hit totem just looks like it's the worst thing in the world all of a sudden, but I would be kind of shocked if that winds up being the case. Leveling wise, I did level this character as Ellie Hit, but obviously I didn't. Obviously I couldn't just do fire damage for a while, so I just did pure elemental hit totems. But you could also probably just level honestly as just a normal spark character until you kind of get, especially at league start, just level as like spark or something until you get to the library, and then help out Siosa and get that quest completed, and then you could, if you would like, if you have like a bow and you feel like you could more or less do it, then you could swap this character pretty easily to ballistas, and you very much so also could run this as like a Scion if you really wanted to. Scion still gets +1 to max totems, so that's really good. Champion, I guess if you really want to feel tanky, or like, I think Elementalist, you have to travel way too far on the tree. You might still be able to, and it might still be pretty good, but I think if you go Elementalist, though, you probably care more about Ignite, and at that point, why not just do it as a, why not just do Explosive Arrow at that point? So, since we're doing crit here, we really want to be trying to go Elemental Hit, at least in my opinion. That just feels like it's for the best. But, yeah, this character overall has been really, really solid. Been a ton of fun. So what I recommend, especially, I'll do like a really quick variation as well. So just kind of, you know, go up the tree, still start from top, go up here, take Retribution, come down, go down and around Holy Domination, through Devotion. Keep it usual, keep it normal as you're leveling, regardless. And then when you get to here, if you're starting the league and you decide that you're gonna really commit and you're gonna go ballistas at the start, make your way up and take Ancestral Bond early, just so that you can have totems rolling. Do a different kind of totem if you want. Do like like Holy Flame totem or something, and just take Ancestral Bond until you can get a Wilma's a bit later in the league. They're usually pretty cheap. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. And while you're here, you could probably take Purity of Flesh, Primal Manifestation as well, just to get some more additional damage on your totems early, and that would be good. Otherwise, though, make your way down. Ignore the cluster at the start of the league. Just make your way all the way down. Take some of these little side nodes, which are mostly just HP. When you get, if you want to go for early Avatar of Fire, you can. If you're wondering why we go Avatar of Fire, it's because it converts 50% of the added damage that is on this gem already. So we're converting 50% of the cold and 50% of the lightning. And that is also why on POB it will tell you that taking out combat focus will give us a huge damage increase. It does not, because then it would, if we were to take combat focus out, then we would do essentially a lot of damage, sure, on our fire shot, but then we would go back to doing half damage on our cold, half damage lightning, and then it would rotate back to fire. So we want to keep things as is, as far as only choosing fire, taking Avatar of Fire for the additional damage. And then obviously, like I said as well, if you get intelligence, and if you get enough intelligence on your gear, then don't take this. If you get enough dexterity on your gear as well, then you don't need this. Also, I wouldn't imagine you will need dexterity. I don't need this 30 dex node as is, just because of the traveling that I've done into a lot of the dex areas over here. So I'd recommend taking those 2 points off, putting them somewhere else, whether it be more life. Take this 8% efficiency here. Take this life wheel here if you would like to. If you want to feel a bit tankier, take some more life. Actually, what I'd probably recommend is take those 2 points, put them here and here, refund this point, and then take the 8% efficiency, which is probably what I'll show in the tree. Yeah, and then otherwise we come over here, we take Watchtowers, of course. Watchtowers is very good and gives us another +1 maximum summon ballistas. And again, if you go ballistas, really rush, if you go ballistas early, probably take Ancestral Bond and Primal Manifestation, and then basically bolt down here, rush all the way down to get Panopticon, because Panopticon is another +1, and it's a pretty big damage increase for our totems, same with Surveillance on it. So rush down here, take these 2 nodes, and then kind of make your way over here and take Watchtowers, and then probably take King of the Hill, just because that is a lot of traveling that you have to do. Cluster Jewel-wise, once we get into that point, kind of later in the character, later in the league, Then you have the option here. This one, I wish I don't have an Exalted Orb to slam on this thing. But you would have something else, obviously, in the 4th slot. Disorienting, Prismatic Heart, Sadist. This is actually probably a little suboptimal because we actually missed out on a bonus from Sadist because we can't ignite enemies. So we only shock and chill. I think it still counts. I can't remember if it counts from Skitterbots. I think that does still count as you chilling and shocking them. So you still get a bonus there, but it's not nearly as big. I would switch this out for a Fire Jewel and instead make it Cremator. Or no, not Cremator. Smoking Remains, because we don't ignite things, so Cremator doesn't do anything. Smoking Remains would be really good, though. You could still probably just do Prismatic Heart and Disorienting Display otherwise, because both of those are still options on Fire Jewels. So I'd probably just swap this for, for Smoking Remains, and then you'll have, these will be fire damage instead. And then small cluster-wise, we have Ancestral Might, which isn't exactly ideal, but it's also not a bad one by any means. This is just more totem damage, and we summon totems pretty much constantly, so it's actually still pretty good. But the really important one is Sleepless Sentries. This gives us permanent onslaught, because then we're running around, and we're always placing a totem within the last 4 seconds, for sure. Usually, ideally within the last 2. Up here we have, this is Eye to Eye. This should be Repeater. This is just aerodynamics right now. The POB will show Repeater. But aerodynamics is just what I happen to roll, and I was way too lazy to buy one. So this will be Eye to Eye and Repeater instead. That is just a very good one. We want the Eye to Eye for damage with hits against nearby enemies, and because we're taking Point Blank, which also deals more damage to enemies that are closer. So there we go. Bing, bada bing, bada boom. With that is basically this character. Like I said, there's a lot of ways that you can go. I was like really trying to ramble off a lot of fast options, a lot of like different ways that you can do it. But yeah, with that, I guess I haven't done Maven on this character. I don't know how well this will go, whether I brick it or not. We'll see. Again, like I said, I'm level 91, and there's still a ton of improvements to be made. But the character overall has been quite strong. Ooh, never mind. I'm completely gonna wipe this. I forgot to take off Uber Maven. Ooh, this is not good. Alright, we get to see Uber Maven damage. This is my first time seeing Uber Maven damage on this character. Ooh, that's not great. Ooh, not great at level 91, huh? Oh. Yeah. You know, I think I'm just gonna not go back in there. I'm gonna switch characters. I'll switch characters off video. Very sorry, that was my bad. I completely forgot that I was trying to fight Uber Maven. I was farming Uber Maven on my Bama character earlier. There's no shot at level 91 with this like scuffed bow, and kind of mid other gear right now while I'm still figuring stuff out. There's no shot that he does it. I think we got what, like a third of her health. So I mean, I guess take it however you see fit. Yeah, character overall. Very not bad. I will most likely be league starting with this. I'll make a follow-up video next league once the character does kind of get fleshed out a bit more, and as I actually league start it, I'll make another video there. Or if I happen to decide to make a different character, I will make a video about that, and I will post that instead. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got a laugh out of my complete mess up right there on starting Uber Maven. Whoops, they're definitely not ready with this guy. But otherwise, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the build. I hope it looks interesting. As always, I really hope that you had a good time with Affliction League, or that you are currently still having time with it, having a fun time with it. There's still like over a month, so if you're like really thinking about should I get into it or not, I still would 100% say that it's worth it. It's been such a fun league. It's been such a blast of a league and a real baller. And I'm very excited to see what happens next as far as what we have with good old Path of Exile. So I will see you all next league. I'm going to be playing a lot of Last Epoch that is coming out literally 2 days from when this video is going up. So yeah, hope you all enjoy. Hope you have fun. Hope you're enjoying some good old ARPGs. I will see you all next league. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, YouTube. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye now.